was last Thursday he went. Well, yesterday week.
That was the 15th.
May the 15th. Rodney covers Suffolk for them. He said he was going to Ipswich to stop the night. Start first thing in the morning.
What time did your husband leave, Mrs. Williams? Mrs. Williams? Mrs. Williams?
Yes?
What time did your husband leave?
About 6. I know it was 6 because the children's programs were just ending.
When he was in Ipswich, where did your husband stay? An hotel?
I couldn't say. Just outside somewhere.
Is this your husband?
Yes.
Taken recently?
Last year.
On holiday, it looks like.
If only. You can take it with you if you want. For identification.
Oh, I'm sure that won't be necessary, but thank you.
Sarah, this is Dora Wexford's husband. He's a policeman.
Hello.
Hello.
Have to work.
She never stops.
I could never get mine to do their homework. What sort of a car did your husband drive?
Vauxhall Cavalier. He had lots of things with his name in. I'm sure I'd have heard something if there's been an accident.
Hello, darling. I didn't hear you come in.
It's a mean little house.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I went round to see Joy Williams.
Oh, were you able to help?
Oh, it's quite obvious that Rodney's got another woman. When I cautiously suggested that there might be somebody else, she said she didn't know how many floozies he'd had. She wasn't going to ask.
Floozies? That's showing her age.
The only thing that surprised me is that he waited so long.
Have you seen Mike today?
How long's dinner going to be?
Jenny called in to tell me they've had the results of the amniocentesis. The baby is all right, and it's a girl.
Well, it's a bit of a risk taking that test, isn't it?
Well, they had to know. They're really too old to have babies.
Oh, flying in the face of nature, you might say.
Be surprised, my lad, I might. Reg, I want to tell you something. I should have told you at the time.
Well, why didn't you?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I thought you might be violent.
Oh, sure. Very wild. Very free with my fists. What is it?
Rodney Williams made a pass at Sylvia.
Well, Sylvia's a very attractive woman. She can take care of herself.
She was 15 at the time.
And like a good girl, she came home and told Mother.
I am happy to report. To be honest, I think she was scared stiff. Well, I told Williams that Sylvia's father was in the police force. He made himself very scarce.
Well, I shan't waste any more time over Williams. Mike, there's something wrong. What is it?
It's nothing.
It doesn't affect your work when you're miserable, but it affects everybody else around you. The amniocentesis was all right, wasn't it? They didn't tell her anything to worry her?
Well, as a matter of fact, they did. It's just what they did. They told her something to worry her. It doesn't worry me, and I'm the child's father, but it worries her like hell. Look, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, these things pass, Mike. I've been there.
Two reports on an abandoned car in Arnold Road, sir.
You're going to tell me something else, aren't you?
G-registered Vauxhall Cavalier, sir.
Was Williams an exceptionally small man?
Not much of a driver.
If he parked it here. Radio's still here. What's the matter with the vandals these days? 3,316 miles. For a rep? That'd make me suspicious if I was Mrs. Williams.
Perhaps she never drove this car. If she drove at all.
And if you don't look, you don't know.
Helen Blake.
We'll have to get her in.
You there on this road to the Rotary, Red?
No, I'm terribly sorry. I missed that, Miles.
That's a pity. I was saying, despite the increased threat of unemployment, men seem to have lost the fear of losing their jobs. And with far fewer school leavers, we're going to employ mature women. Well, this is Rodney's desk. You don't suppose anything could have happened to him, do you?
I mean, has he had an accident? Oh, I don't think so. Well, what's he been up to? Looks to me as if he'd been up to some sort of a fiddle. And either he decided to call it a day, or he thought the danger of discovery was imminent. Could he have been cooking the books?
No, it's impossible. He never went near them. Well, he's a bit heavy on the expenses sometimes, but...
What about fraud? Could he have perpetrated a forgery?
I don't think so. I'm sure not. I mean, I would have known by now. The chap's been gone for 3 weeks.
Who sits at this desk?
Well, that's Susan, his secretary. Thank you, Miss Hooper. That's not why Rodney absconded.
He couldn't have been selling this paint of yours over the odds while he was out on the road and then pocketing the difference.
It doesn't work that way, Reg. He doesn't handle money. What do you mean out on the road?
Well, he's your representative in the Suffolk area, isn't he?
He used to be, some years ago. Rodney Williams is my marketing manager. Or at least he was until we received this little note.
Thank you.
This is to give you notice of my resignation from 7 Smith Harding from today. I'm afraid it's rather sudden, but it's due to circumstances beyond my control. I shall not be returning to the office, and I would prefer you not to try and contact me.
And the PS?
I will contact the accounts department about my superannuation refund in due course.
Mr. Gardner, Rodney Williams. Bit formal, isn't it, when you're writing to somebody who's called you Rodney for years?
Well, he is giving notice.
No notice at all. That's what got up their nose.
What about his signature?
Well, I saw a specimen in the office. Not dissimilar. But he hasn't been a rep for 5 years.
His wife must be pretty gullible.
Joy Williams is not the most discerning person I've ever met. But people will believe what they want to, if it maintains the status quo.
Someone else in his life.
Could be. All those trips away for weeks on end. But if it isn't an affair, and he had to disappear...
So, is Williams a missing person?
absent. Jenny was told it was a girl, and she was very upset, to put it mildly.
I don't think I want to know the sex of mine. Actually, I couldn't care less.
Eskimos leave their female babies on an ice floe. Or is that Indians?
Have you thought about names? Paul or Paula, something simple.
No, what film director's called Paul? Let's think.
I'm not rising, Sylvia.
Who's for another drink?
Thanks, Dad. Are you working on the Williams case?
For my sins.
Randy Rodney.
Suppose you knew him as well, Sheila.
Not as much as he'd have liked.
Why didn't you tell me? Sheila?
Oh, don't make a fuss, Dad. He was harmless enough.
Robin.
It was nothing, believe me. If I had £1 for every man that's made a pass at me.
You'd be as rich as you are beautiful.
She's kicking. Can you feel it?
Excuse me. Can you tell me the time of the next bus? My car's in the garage, see? I don't know what's the matter with it. I could walk, I suppose. I'll give her another minute, yeah? I could give you a hand with that. If it's heavy. Even if it's not.
You, bashed into his car.
I didn't bash into anything. I just scraped the wing as I was trying to park.
And you wrote down your name and number, and...
Well, I answered the phone, didn't I?
This note was discovered on the floor of the car, among some other pages. What we want to know is how it got there.
The car was open, and I put the note on the front seat.
And you don't know anything about that, I suppose?
No.
No. What were you doing there?
Where?
Arnold Road.
Seeing someone. My boyfriend.
What's his name?
Jeremy Bruce, number 43.
We'll have to have a look at your car just to check the damage.
And the car belongs to my aunt.
Well, she'll be happy for us to look at it, won't she?
Well, she won't be happy to learn that I was parking there at 2 in the morning.
A tryst, was it? We don't mind if you smoke.
It's more convenient for me to go to him. I share a bedroom with my sister.
Not Miss Floozy.
Bit young, isn't she?
Very commendable, leaving a number like that, isn't it?
Sir, the resignation note, sir. It was typed on Outler Universal 200 with a fault on the uppercase A and I.
Thank you, Sergeant Martin.
Sir?
So we are investigating.
Oi! Hold up! You want me to get your wellies, Scout?
Shirts. Silk socks.
One suit jacket on its own. No razor, no sponge bag. The kidney donor card was in the pocket. That's how I knew whose it was. It's 200 quid here. I shall have to have your address, Mr. Milvey. I might want to talk to you again.
27 Alverbury Road, Kingsmarkham.
Do you mean you live in the same road as Mr. Williams?
Just opposite, yeah. I thought you knew that.
No. No, I didn't. You must know him then.
Pass the time of day. The wife chats to Mrs. Williams. My girl and Sarah are in the same class at school.
Mr. Williams has been missing from home for a month or more now.
Is that right?
I wouldn't expect too much, Dad.
Where are you off to?
Oh, Tracy and I are going to the Dead Poets Society.
What sort of society is that?
It's a film, Dad.
All right. How do you get on with the shrink?
What do you expect? A miracle in 2 easy lessons?
I'm going to have a drink. Do you want one?
If you like.
It's not if I like. Do you like?
It's the same difference.
What did the shrink say?
Nothing. Besides, she's not a shrink. She's a therapist.
Sorry. I don't know about these things.
Mike, I can't help it. I'm sorry, I have tried.
So you say.
She didn't say anything. She just let me talk.
What did you talk about?
I cried, Mike. I could stay home and do that. Be less expensive. God, I wish I'd never had that thing done. I wish I'd never been told. Mike, I can't have a girl. I can't.
You're a feminist. You taught at a girls' school. You love Pat. You love girls. Why can't you love ours? I don't understand it. It's beyond my understanding.
I don't want a girl. Not a girl.
I haven't touched anything.
Aftershave. Rodney Williams. Does he have difficulty in sleeping?
Sometimes.
Not when he's away from home, evidently.
They're not sleeping tablets. They're for his blood pressure.
Well, shouldn't he have them with him?
He has lots of them. Has to take them regularly.
Where's he keep his papers?
He does all his business in here, so you should find what you need.
You don't involve yourself in the financial end of things.
Oh, no. Rodney does it all as best he can.
Didn't go abroad then.
We never went anywhere. Shopping in Boulogne.
Do you have a typewriter in this house, Mrs. Williams?
No. We'll probably have something cut off before he gets back.
Do you mind if I have a look at these bank statements?
Why not? Never been able to get on with them myself. You think it's got something to do with money, then?
It is possible.
Kevin! How did it go? How was it? When will you know the results? She's home.
Come in. She doesn't listen at doors. And anyway, she doesn't care what I say, I think.
Oh? Has your father contacted you?
I would have said, wouldn't I?
What did you do with yourself that evening, the last evening before he left?
I was late home because I went to the library. I passed my father on the stairs.
As he was going out?
Yeah.
Did he say anything to you?
Just kissed me goodbye.
Principles of human genetics. My goodness, that's a bit advanced, isn't it? Even for A-levels.
It's not in the syllabus. I've been offered a place at St. Fiddle's. It's the best medical school. It's in London.
Chantry Street.
Right.
Your parents must be very proud of you.
I can see you don't know my parents. They won't stop me.
Why should they want to?
All that money, and then you'll get married. I'll get a grant somehow.
Your brother's at university.
That's different. Kevin gets what he wants. There's always a favourite, isn't there?
I dare say. I'm sure you don't want this to take all day. On the 15th, after your husband had left, what did you do for the rest of the evening?
Me?
What did you do? Did you go out? Did you stay in? Perhaps somebody came over here.
Went over to see Hope. My sister lives in Pomfret. I had something to eat, and then I went over to my sister's. Hello? Chief Inspector Wexford.
Thank you. Wexford? Thank you. Williams. Here's, thank you. I'm afraid I have some bad news, Mrs. Williams.
He's had an accident.
No, it wasn't an accident. His body's been found in the grounds of the old hall on the Pomfret Road. There's no easy way of saying it. He's been murdered.
Do you want coffee?
No, thank you.
Will I have to look at him?
Some other member of your family can do the identification.
There's my sister's husband, John Harmer. He's the chemist in Pomfret. Rod has a brother in Bath. Or had, I should say. I mean, he's alive and well. And Rod's dead. He's been killed.
For God's sake.
You shut your mouth, you little cow!
Look after Mum, Mr. Wexford. She's got some Valium. I'll find something for her on TV.
I'm very sorry. Sure you're prepared for this, Mr. Harmer?
I think so. I brought something from the pharmacy just in case. Yes. That's my brother-in-law, Rodney Williams. Excuse me.
In the heart and in the neck. Thank you.
Are you all right?
Come on, Dad.
A bit of a scene at his house. Joy Williams got quite hysterical.
You should blame her. Is the daughter there?
Yeah, she took it well. Kids can do that. Hits them later. Ah, Sergeant Martin.
Sir?
I want you to take Williams' bag over to forensic. I want to know how long it's been in the water.
No, sir. A couple of Sundays have been on, sir.
Well, make sure nothing is released to them about the nature of Williams' death.
Yeah. Pretty bad of a place, isn't it?
You better go over and see Milby. See if you can dig out any more information about that bag. Oh, and you better tell him not to say anything to the press either. Who's been sleeping in my bed?
Sarah Williams confirmed that the bag was her father's.
Well, we knew that from the donor card, didn't we?
No, not necessarily.
Pity about the cash. Case of finders weepers this time, isn't it?
Do you, have much contact with the Williams family, Mr. Milby?
Only to pass the time of day. Well, I told your chief. Funny family. He was always away. She just sits in front of the telly. Her daughter is a bit of a swat. Wouldn't lower herself to talk to me. Except when she wanted to use my photocopier for her university forms. My daughter gets on all right with her. They're at the same school.
Did anyone know that you were working up at the old hall?
No, no one. Well, I might have mentioned it to Joy Williams when I was moving to JCB.
Well, thank you very much.
They're putting in a trout farm up there.
Ah, really?
See me?
If you're in charge.
This way. What happened to your hand?
Her?
I asked her about the buses.
You told me you didn't see this person's face.
I didn't. But I know it was a woman. Just the way she moved.
Go on.
She didn't reply, so I left her at that.
And that's all you did?
And she turned around and stabbed me. And she ran off.
Why didn't you report this?
Well, that's what I'm doing.
When it happened?
It wouldn't have been much use.
Why do you say that?
Well, I couldn't describe her.
Well, then why are you reporting it now?
Because that's where you discovered that man's body. She probably ran over his grave.
Why were you talking to her about the buses?
I live in King's Market. I wanted to know when the next bus was due.
If you use the bus every day, you're going to know the times as well as anyone.
I drive, normally.
So you were just making conversation?
What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all. So why did this woman pull a knife on you? Bit foolhardy, wasn't it? Attacking a big fellow like you?
Oh, I don't know. There are some who wouldn't think twice. You want to ask up at our old house on Forest Road, where all the women go.
Where all the women go?
Forest Lodge. You want to see what they get up to?
Did you believe him?
Asking for it. Probably tried it on.
Nothing to do with the case.
No. What do you got for me? Drugs?
Not quite. It's a household filler.
What, like polyfiller?
That kind of thing, but much finer. There's a number of brands.
Well, could it have been used to repair on the car?
Not on this motor. It's immaculate. Was immaculate.
Household filler. White paste in a tub. Does Seven Smiths market a product like that?
No, we never have.
Good afternoon, Seven Smith.
Just one more question. Did you ever have any trouble with young ladies? We know that Williams had a preference.
I believe he did. It never became a problem as such. His death shocked us all. He'll be missed. Go into my office. I'll be there in a minute. It's my daughter, Jane.
Haven't seen her since she was knee-high to a grasshopper.
Good afternoon, ladies. Detective Chief Inspector Wexford and Detective Inspector Burden. Michelle Davis.
Hello, Miss Davis. Know why we're here?
Mr. Williams.
Yes. I'd like to talk to you about the woman who called the day after he was last seen.
Joy Williams.
What did she say exactly?
My husband won't be in today. That's Rodney Williams' marketing manager.
What makes you so certain that it was Rodney Williams' wife?
Because she phoned again about 3 weeks after he left.
That was after I talked to her.
It was the same woman. I recognized her voice.
And she didn't call again?
No.
Thank you, Miss Davis.
Thank you, Michelle.
The caller said she was phoning on behalf of Rodney Williams, marketing manager, but Joyce still thinks that he's a rat.
There's no reason for the telephonist to lie.
Well, if she isn't, then his wife is.
Unless the caller was someone sounding like Joy Williams.
What, to make you suspicious of Joy?
Are we suspicious of Joy? From your description, I can't imagine Joy Williams choosing between 2 soap powders, let alone doing her old man in.
Well, she'd certainly need help.
The daughter?
Oh, she's got a head in a book. She's gone to medical school. That is a very clever girl.
Chief Inspector, some news?
No, I'm afraid not. Early days yet. I've got an incipient sore throat. You used to have some of those lozenges in orange boxes.
I know.
Hello, Paulette.
Please?
Oh, yes, these. Yeah. How much are they?
That's 135, please.
Thank you. Yes, I always feel that if they've got vitamins in them, they must be doing you good. I believe Mrs. Williams spends a lot of time over here with you and your wife.
Yes, she enjoys coming. Enjoyed coming over here in the evenings when Rod was away.
Was she here on Thursday, May the 15th?
Be unusual on a Thursday. Could have been. Oh, probably was.
Oh, thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Mrs. Williams is here to see you. Put her in your office.
I'll see you in a minute, Mike.
Mrs. Williams saw her husband's photograph in the newspaper, sir.
Been gone for 7 weeks. Got married as soon as I could. Had to get away from my parents.
How old were you when you got married?
16. Marrying a registry office.
And your daughter Veronica is 16.
Yes. Rodney could have been in a bit of trouble over that. But he got away with it.
Did Mr. Williams have any relatives that you know of?
He told me they were all dead.
In all the years that you lived together, did he ever tell you that he had another wife? Did you know, or have you ever met Joy Williams?
No. No. I'd know if I'd met her, wouldn't I?
But this new woman, Wendy, she's a happier spirit.
Well, hard to tell through the tears in my office. But she's young, prettyish, a different sort. She's got a girl of 16.
Extraordinary. I saw a program once about bigamy. Difficult to imagine it in King's Markham. How far apart did you say these women live?
Only 6 miles. Oh, will you look at that black spot? Wendy lives in Pomfret.
But to live those 2 lives just a few miles apart for 16 years, it's remarkable.
Well, it's a bit of a gamble. He must have felt a great excitement balancing on that tightrope? How many times was he out with one family when they were close to the other family? He must have had to hide, take evasive action, create extraordinary deceits.
Did either of the women have money?
Oh, it wasn't money. No, Wendy got the lion's share, but no, he supported them both. Oh. Which is Veronica Williams.
Doesn't seem quite right, does it, watching girls like this?
Oh, I don't know. It's the most natural thing in the world.
For you, may be.
Well, how would you feel if you saw two middle-aged women watching two young men playing squash?
Well, nothing, would I? I think they were their mothers.
Is there something you want?
Well, actually, we're looking for a young lady.
Veronica Williams.
She's not here.
Well, we were told that she was playing tennis this afternoon.
Well, as you can see, she isn't. I suggest you go to the head's office if you have legitimate business here, and if not, be kind enough to leave.
Come on, mate. Madam, we're on your side.
I don't care who you've come to support.
Silhouette of a raven on a T-shirt. A-R-R-I-A.
Aria, local women's group. Pat's mentioned it. Quite a few of the girls at her school seem to be members.
Sarah Williams, Paulette Harmer, and Helen Blake was wearing one when she came to see us about the naughty Williams car.
I thought feminist groups were old hat.
Oh, what do you and I know about women, excluding wives?
Why exclude wives?
Sir, we've had a complaint from a Miss Peters. She's the PE instructor at Dalton May. Apparently, two middle-aged men have been seen snooping around the tennis courts, acting in a suspicious manner. Voyeurs, probably, sir. One was an older man.
I'll see to it.
Right you are, sir.
Excuse the paint smell. We've just been decorated. I was told it'd be gone by now.
Hello, Veronica. You're off school today.
Veronica's had a tummy bug. She's a lot better now. Aren't you, darling? This business has been such a shock to us.
I would expect that. But I'm afraid this is a murder inquiry, so there are questions I have to ask.
How did you get in?
The door was open. Aria. I saw you were a member. What does it stand for?
Aria Paita. Well, she was a Roman matron. Paita only because she had to take her husband's name. Ancient Rome was known for its gross oppression and exploitation of women.
Is this what they teach you at school?
My aunt, she runs this place.
You say you have to share a bedroom? With your sister?
I don't have a sister, and you don't have to worry about my love life.
Who's your visitor, Helen?
The police.
Detective Chief Inspector Wexford.
Hello. I'm Edwina Fitzgerald. Do you wish to speak to my niece or to me?
I'm really inquiring about your group.
Well, it's strictly women, I'm afraid.
Yes, I have noticed that. I've met some of your members lately. Do you do most of your recruiting from schools?
Mostly. Young minds are more receptive to original ideas.
They're also more impressionable.
Thank you, Helen.
1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2.
Some of the girls in the sixth form belong to it.
But you're not a member.
Of course she isn't. You have to be 17. Feminists. That's not the way to find a good man.
I'm all for what you're doing, but don't you think this sort of training might provoke aggression? Is it all unarmed combat?
It's not combat, it's self-defense. There are other classes. Self-awareness, yoga. What you fail to understand is that we don't want to dominate you. We want to live on equal terms, in all things. We have a manifesto, if you're really interested.
Yes, I would like to see that. And I also want to see a list of your membership.
That is confidential.
Good morning.
Why? Have you found a motive? These Harrier girls are involved somewhere. It seems Harrier was a Roman woman who plunged a sword into her own heart.
There was a man at the bottom of it, was there?
Oh, we're the villains, like.
Got your message, sir. So far, nothing on the typewriter at the time of the resignation, though.
Well, perhaps Alden Finch School is where we should be looking for typewriters. All these girls seem to go there.
Have you tried Ovington's in Pomfret?
No, I haven't covered Pomfret yet, sir.
Well, don't worry. I'll do it myself. I've got to pass that way later.
Oh, right, sir.
No? No. No. You haven't repaired any of the characters on these machines?
I haven't touched them. They're only to be cleaned.
Did any more come in from Holden Finch School?
One Olympia, one Japanese thing lost its nameplate.
It's the under 200s I'm really interested in. Do you have any others in for repair?
Not from Holden Finch School.
From anywhere? As long as they came to you within the past 2 months.
Remington, Olympia, Smith Corona.
Well, thank you very much for all your help.
It's Eddie. Listen, I've just had the police in my shop.
certainly he was killed by the wound to the heart. McNaught seems to think that the neck wound was made after he was dead. You know, Reg, I shouldn't be commenting on this. After all, McNaught did the post-mortem.
Oh, don't be such an old woman. It's not our fault that he's gone off to kill things on a Scottish moor.
I checked with Orvington's in Pomfret. Nothing. Your sandwich?
Oh, no, thanks.
Then?
Go on, Mike. Get your shirt off.
What about you?
Well, I've got a summer cold.
Was he in the habit of taking sleeping pills?
Not that I know of. He was taking something for his blood pressure.
320 milligrams of cyclobarbital in the stomach and other organs. As a sleeping pill, 220 is the dose. 320 wouldn't kill him.
So it was a stab wound that killed him?
He was killed by the wound to the heart.
Sedated, stabbed in the heart and killed, and then stabbed again.
Wound to the heart doesn't make much blood. Was there any sign of a struggle?
No sign of any bruising to indicate a fight.
Premeditated and full of hate. The man's dead in front of you. You'd look at him, and then you strike again.
This way, miss. Press your fingers down there. That's good. No, not all at once, miss. Just try again, shall we? Just relax.
What's your name, dear? Pat Burden.
That's better. Yeah, nothing to it, miss. What's your name?
Jane Gardner.
Thank you.
All of the girls?
No, only the 6. There was nothing to it, Dad. They said it was for elimination purposes.
Try and clean it off. I don't want your mother to see it.
Here she is. Jane Gardner.
Pretty, isn't she?
Sarah, Helen, Veronica, Paulette, Jane. The fingerprints of all these girls were discovered on Williams' car. Are they all members of Arya?
Not Jane or Veronica.
Veronica's too young.
2 daughters, 1 niece.
It's Jane Gardner's connection with Williams.
Paintworks. Their father's paintworks.
Must have been something more than that, Mike. Helen Blake leaving that note. We're going to have to talk to all these girls.
He just feels he can't do anything right.
Did he say that to you?
No, he's my father. I know his feeling when he looks like that.
What is he feeling?
Why don't you ask him? You're supposed to be the communicator.
Yeah.
I thought teachers were supposed to know all the answers.
Hey, that's unfair.
I don't mean to be unfair. I just can't bear to watch you two hurting each other when you love each other so much.
It's just... Well, Pat, look, I'm just so afraid it's going to be a girl.
I know, and it's silly. What's wrong with girls? I was one once.
I see. Action for the radical reform of intersexual attitudes. Yes, I see. Can you be more specific as to its objectives, miss?
No, I don't know. I only joined because some of my friends are in it.
Your friends?
Helen Blake and Sarah Williams.
I see. Just one more thing. Do you have a manual typewriter in your house?
No, my dad uses an electric one. I'm sorry, I'll have to go.
That's all right, miss. Thank you.
Sarah and I were in an extracurricular dancing class for 2 terms. This was a couple of years ago. They were held in the evenings.
Did you ever see Sarah's father at that time?
Well, some of the parents used to come and collect us. It wasn't considered safe to walk home alone. Most of them waited outside. But Sarah's father always came in.
You mean he visited the class?
Every week. He used to sit through the whole thing.
Well, didn't you find that a little strange?
I thought it was nice that someone was interested enough to watch. I was very innocent. I slightly knew the other one.
Which other one?
Veronica Williams.
You mean you knew they were half-sisters?
Oh, no. I don't know what I thought. Honestly, I thought they might be cousins. They looked a bit alike.
But Veronica Williams attends Dalton May.
Yes, I know that. That's where I saw her. We were playing away in an under-16s tennis tournament. I don't think Veronica was even 15, but she was such a brilliant player. It's because she's got a pushy mother.
You know Wendy Williams as well?
I haven't spoken to her.
So you know both the families?
Suppose so.
Yet the one didn't know the other existed.
Of course they did.
I hope this is leading somewhere, Inspector.
What makes you think that they knew each other?
Because I've seen them together a few times.
Who exactly?
The 2 women. I saw them in the Precinct Cafe in Kings Markham just before Christmas.
I want you to think again about Joy Williams. You told us that you'd never seen her before.
I may have passed her in the street. She's a very plain-looking woman.
What about the son or the daughter?
Are they under suspicion? You should ask her about the other woman.
Why did you go out on the 15th? It was a Thursday, the night your son was due to ring.
So?
Kevin's weekly call was very important to you.
I don't always have to be at his beck and call. It's like his father all over again. I've done everything for him, but I might as well not have bothered for all the attention he shows me.
He's staying with you at the moment, isn't he?
He'll just go off when it pleases him.
And you've never met Wendy Williams?
Don't call her that.
Mrs. Williams, why were you not more alarmed when your husband was away for so long?
Rodney and I, we quarreled.
What did you quarrel about?
I'll keep that to myself if you don't mind. I said that if he didn't stop, if he didn't promise me faithfully that he'd never... I said I'd take Veronica and he'd never see us again. And he denied it, of course, and said I needn't trouble to leave him because he'd leave me. He calmed down after a while. I suppose I did too. He was going away and was due back on Thursday. 15th, that is. So you see, when he didn't come back, I thought he'd left me.
I'll have to know what you quarreled about, Mrs. Williams.
It's got nothing whatsoever to do with Rodney's death.
Why do you say that?
And how could it? He picked up a hitchhiker who then killed him.
Well, that's an interesting guess, Mrs. Williams. But it's only a guess. What did you quarrel about?
There was a girl.
Is that the woman that you referred to earlier?
A girl.
I'll have to have the name of this girl.
I don't know her name. I just know he was taking her out, spending money all over the place. On his credit cards, cinemas in London, theatres.
And you've no idea who this girl is? And you still deny any previous knowledge of Joy Williams?
How many times do I have to tell you?
Whatever those two women say, Mike, they knew each other.
It just seems so different to collude in something like this, though.
And this third woman, if she exists, this girl, a member of ARIA?
Can't see that.
All right. Well, let's stick to the fact that they knew each other. Give them a couple of days to sort their story out and then bring them in together.
All right. Kevin Williams.
Yeah?
I'm Detective Inspector Burt, King's Markham Police.
Ah, look, I've already made a statement. On the 15th, I was in Hall trying to ring my mother.
Did you have trouble getting through?
Yeah. Well, getting somebody to answer it. I have to ring on Thursdays or she goes bonkers. Once the sun shines out of my arse. We all have a cross to bear, don't we?
And your father?
Well, what do you expect me to know about him? He was always away. I was always away.
What about your father and Sarah?
Look, things have been allowed to go to pot round here. My mum gets treated like a slave. Is that it?
Thank you.
Careful, your face doesn't crack. About time you had some real things in your life. This place has needed a man in it for some time.
Sorry to trouble you at home, Miles. Just want to do things I want to clear up.
All this press attention hasn't done much for the company.
Did you never suspect that he was leading two lives?
Oh, not for a second. You've spoken to Rodney's secretary. Was she any help at all?
No.
Poor Susan. She's pretty, but she's pretty dim, too. I presume Rodney chose her for some other reason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Mummy was back.
Jane. It was actually your daughter I came to see, Miles. Alone, if you don't mind.
That's highly irregular, isn't it? I mean, shouldn't she have a parent with her?
Oh, good heavens, Miles, it's only a chat. I just thought it'd be less disconcerting for Jane than coming down to the incident centre.
I see.
It's okay, Dad. I'll see Mr. Wexford here.
Very well, darling. If you're sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Jane. Shall we sit down? Did you know Rodney Williams?
I met him once at Daddy's office.
When was that?
8 weeks? 9?
What do you think of him?
It's okay.
The last time that Rodney Williams left his house was May the 15th. That was a Thursday. I want you to think very carefully about what you were doing on that Thursday evening.
Sorry, I can't remember. Do you really suspect me?
How did your fingerprints get onto Rodney Williams' car? A month after the only time that you met him. You saw him more than once.
Rodney used to wait for me in Arnold Road. He occasionally gave me a lift home. And we'd park the car somewhere and just talk. And that was all, I swear, that was all.
He was good to you. Who do you think could have done this terrible thing to him, Jane?
That's true, leaving casualty.
Mike,
Came to fetch you.
I've just been to see the therapist.
How'd it go?
Well, she said that I mustn't say I'm sorry, but I am sorry. And she said I must share it with you. And that I must look forward to going back to work, and it'll be different when I hold it in my arms. And she said she wants to see you.
Why does she want to see me? I'll love it, whatever it is. Sorry. Didn't mean it to come out like that.
I know you didn't. Come on, let's go home.
Which of you first found out that the other existed?
I don't understand what you mean.
All right, I'll put it another way. When did you discover that Rodney Williams had a wife? And you, Mrs. Williams, when did you find out that your husband had married again? Now, I know that you haven't been truthful with me. The question is, when did you first meet each other?
I never knew she existed until you told me. When you told me that my husband was a bigamist on top of all the rest.
On top of all what rest, Mrs. Williams?
Lying to me about his job for a start.
Having other women.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said having other women. That's what the rest was, having other women.
He never had other women. He had her. He never had any others.
Let her delude herself if she likes.
When did you first meet her, Mrs. Williams?
You've no business to call her that. She has no right to that name. You call her Miss whatever she used to be. You call her that.
Manners of a fishwife, common as dirt. No wonder he came to me.
Nasty little bitch. Look at her, dressed up like a kid.
This sort of rubbish does not impress me. You've known each other since at least Christmas. You've been seen.
By who?
Helen Blake.
Never heard of her.
Nor me.
Francis wants a word, sir.
Oh, right.
There you are, sir.
Archie, what you got for me? Yes? Yes? Thanks.
Something good?
The dust sheet William's body was wrapped in. Apparently Archie's found household filler, same as in the boot of the Cavalier. So wherever Williams was killed, his body was brought here in the boot of his own car.
My God. Household filler. Wendy Williams has just had her front room redecorated.
Forasmuch as it hath pleased Almighty God of his great mercy to take unto himself the soul of our dear brother here departed, we therefore commit his body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. In sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ, who shall change our vile body, that it may be like unto his glorious body, according to the mighty working whereby he is able to subdue all things to himself.
get you some more tea? Uncle John, you want a sandwich?
I feel terrible.
Of course you do. It's only natural.
I keep having nightmares.
What do you think I feel? Oh, we mustn't cry.
Let's not ignore our guests, Sarah.
This is very much racehorse country. Training yards crisscross the downlands. These are not for such a modest horseman as myself, but early on a misty downland morning, it's possible to see the riders putting the horses through their paces.
Why haven't you filled this in? Why haven't you filled this in?
I can't make head or tail of it. I don't know what you want a grant for. Your father said you'd be no good as a doctor. Waste of money.
Yes. We don't have to listen to any more of that, do we?
Vicious little bitch.
All you've got to do is sign it. I'll fill it all in since you can't understand it.
You'd be far better off getting a job and helping me. What's going to happen to me? There's no money. I can't afford school fees.
My education won't cost you a penny. Just sign.
Yesterday evening. She's been missing since yesterday evening.
She was out with a boyfriend?
She doesn't have a boyfriend.
So Paulette didn't come home last night?
Nope.
Any idea where she might have been?
Just a possibility. Paulette attends meetings with her friends.
Girlfriends?
Harriet.
Yes. Unless there was a man been coming into the pharmacy for weeks, always waiting for Paulette to serve him.
What's his name?
Colin. Bud. That's all I know.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harmer. We'll let you know if we hear anything.
How long do you think you're going to be here?
You'd better ask the chief, madam.
Paulette Harmer, daughter of the chemist in Pomfret.
She didn't go home.
She was here last night.
Paulette is in our primary awareness group.
I'd like a list of all the members that attended that class.
Helen keeps the minutes. Helen, Chief Inspector Wexford needs a list of all those who attended last night's PA group.
But it's against the charter. Names are given in confidence.
Just do it.
Thank you. Now, could you show me the route that Paulette would have taken on her way home last night?
I saw her in the chemist. She works there.
You noticed her? No harm in talking to her, eh?
What do you want?
That night at the bus stop, you were on your way to Forest Lodge. Paulette had an area meeting that evening. You were following her. You looked the same last night. Where is she?
I never saw her. All right. I waited outside her father's shop, but she never appeared.
When did you last see her?
Well, I don't know. I see her all the time. I wait for her, but she never speaks to me. It's not like you think. I love her.
Oh, come on. You tried it on with that girl at the bus stop, now you've done it again. But this time it went too far, didn't it?
No, I never saw her that night. It's like I said. When the shop shut and she never come out, I went to the pub. I was there all evening, ask anyone.
We will. Don't worry, we will.
Was Paulette Harmer the young girl that your husband was seeing?
I don't know Paulette Harmer.
Who was it then?
He didn't have a young girlfriend unless you count her, and that's not a word I'd use for her.
You told me there was one.
I told you I don't know.
How old were you when you first met him? 15? Is that why you invented a young girl for him?
I didn't invent her. I didn't invent her.
Well, then who is she? What's her name?
Sarah's been talking to you, hasn't she?
That's possible.
Little bitch. Don't. You may as well have it. It wasn't young girls he was attracted to.
No.
Not any young girls. It was his own daughter. He went into her room. It was the middle of the night. Said he couldn't sleep. Said he was cold. Said he wanted to talk to her, discuss a few home truths. He never said anything of any consequence. He was in there for her. First time he left without doing anything. And then he was in there every night. 2, 3 in the morning. Doing it to her.
Did you know that this was taking place?
Sarah told me. I said to her, you spread that about and you split us all up. Your father will go to prison where he deserved to be, God knows. I'm not saying that it wasn't his fault, but he'd never have been able to do what he did unless she encouraged him. Shut up! Sitting on his knees, you're not 10 anymore, I said.
When did this happen?
Christmas holiday, thereabouts. Shut up.
Joy warned you about this, didn't she? Come on, Wendy. Joy found out that you existed, and she sought you out, especially to tell you the truth about Rodney. To tell you to take care of your daughter.
I never let him near Veronica. I need to talk to you alone.
Well?
It's the same as what she said. Least, it would have been if Rodney hadn't got himself killed.
Did Veronica tell you this? Or did you see it with your own eyes?
She was in danger.
Sit down, Mrs. Williams. You were frightened to leave him alone with her.
I never leave her.
On Thursday, May the 15th, you encouraged Veronica to spend the evening with a friend so that you could face him. Believe me, Wendy, I know what you must have been through. And remember, I'm not here to judge you. Did you and Joy mean to punish Rodney for what he'd done? Was it Joy's idea? Did she show you how you could do it? Did you and Joy kill him together?
I went out that night. I went to the shop. I didn't want to drag Eddie into all of this. I'd never seen or heard of Joy Williams before I came to see you.
I had to let Bud go. His alibi is solid. I talked to the publican.
I can't shift the women. They're adamant they didn't know each other. Two bodies, no motive, nothing. Somebody's making bloody fools of us.
What are you going to do with them?
Can I have a word, sir?
No, not now.
I think it's something you're going to want to hear, sir.
You were frightened for your daughters. The man you'd both married was a monster. He had to be lured away, had to be punished. You arranged to go over to Wendy's house. Rodney Williams was going to be there. You exchanged his heart tablets for his sleeping tablets, and between you, you killed Rodney Williams. You stabbed him twice. The second wound after he was dead. Then you wrapped his body in one of the decorator's dust sheets, put it into the boot of the Cavalier, and drove it up here to the old hall.
I hope you're not looking at me. I don't drive.
Where you buried the body. Then you drove to Arnold Road.
Pathetic, all this. I don't have to answer these questions.
Where you left the car. Only you forgot to push back the driver's seat and adjust the rear view mirror.
Could I have a word outside, sir?
What? What?
You can't charge them. It wouldn't stand up.
But I know that's how it happened.
Maybe, but you can't prove it.
I know. Damn it, I know.
Sir, can you take a phone call, sir?
Who's it from?
It's Weenie Fitzgerald from that feminist group. She's got the list she wanted of the area women.
Well, I can't talk to her now.
I'll take the call.
Wait. What did you say?
Sir?
Just now. When you came in.
It's Edwina Fitzgerald. She's got the list of the area women.
Oh, my God. What a bloody fool I've been. Mike, you can tell our guests they're free to go home. I'll take that call now.
Yes, sir.
Chief Inspector Wexford, King's Markham CID. Just one or two things I want to check with you. I was wondering when you'd be free to come and see me.
I'm playing a tennis match at King's Markham Tennis Club this afternoon.
There are lots of things you'd like to talk to me about, aren't there? Not with your mother, on our own. Just the two of us. In confidence. No, don't put the phone down.
I can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yes, you can. After your match, I want you to come to the police station. You know where that is? That's right. Just take the path along the edge of Seaton Wood. Okay. Good. That's it. I'll see you later, then. Is Sergeant Martin there? It wasn't the mothers that knew each other. I completely misunderstood Helen Blake when she said that she'd seen the women together. By women, of course, she meant any members of ARIA. Sarah and Veronica Williams.
I don't mind talking about it. We met at a tennis tournament almost a year ago. Veronica was a Gemini. Very appropriate if you believe in that nonsense. Because she thought she'd met the other half of herself. We filled in the missing parts of each other's lives. We compared notes. Found out the times he'd lied to us. He took Veronica on holiday to Portugal and told us that he was at a trade show in Berlin. We used to play games with him. Put our mothers close together just to see his reaction. The way he smiled. I hated my family. My mother's indifference and my brother's ignorance. That's why I joined Aria. Veronica was too young to join, but that didn't matter. We were often together. I probably loved her. I don't know. We wanted to hurt him. Take something away from him. We stole his wallet and ordered all kinds of things with his credit cards. Made theatre bookings with American Express. Ordered things that we sent to any old addresses. Then he refused to sign my grant application for medical school. If he was dead, I'd have got the money automatically. I think that's when the idea first came to me. And Rodney had to pay the price for what he'd done. Paulette got hold of the sleeping tablets we needed. She was always trying to be friends with us. We used her. We took a big chance. With no way of knowing he would stop off at his other home. If he'd have driven on, or stopped in a lay-by, he'd still be alive. I thought it would be more difficult. That something unexpected would prevent me at the last moment. He was lying there, so still he hardly seemed to be breathing. I pushed the knife into his heart, just under the ribcage, so that he wouldn't bleed too much. He hardly moved. Then I made Veronica do it too, although he was already dead.
You put the knife into the wall.
His body in the car. The rest you know.
What about the bag?
Expected the body to be found sooner. When I heard they were working up at the lake, I just hid it there.
You had the bag in a black bin liner. You were waiting for a bus.
Oh, him. He tried to touch me. Should have got more than his hand.
Thank you, Miss Williams. Afterwards, Sarah had no further use for Veronica. Sarah was the instigator. Veronica was just a passenger. They drifted apart.
What about Paulette?
Sarah killed her because she was getting frightened. She thought she might betray them.
Was there any proof that Williams had relations with his daughter? Daughters?
No evidence. Perhaps it was just in Sarah's mind. To justify her revenge. Who knows?